Hey, it's great to see you back for another episode of Low Range. This trip really pulled the rug from under our feet. All within a day's drive of hometown Brisbane, we explored places that none of us had ever been to before. We're talking great four-wheel driving, beautiful campsites and stunning landscapes, with a whole lot in between. On this trip, we're only a few hours north of Brisbane. Starting off at Paradise Dam, we're taking the back way into Goodnight Scrub National Park, and from there, we'll be heading north to the coast and Urimbula National Park. After a bit of a play in the water, we're taking the road rarely travelled to the stunning Kroombit Tops. And then last but not least, an island you've probably never heard of, Facing Island.
Hey guys, there's a much easier way into Goodnight, but that takes us right around the highway. One of the locals told us about this backtrack over the old Cobb and Co route. Should be a bridge down here somewhere, and we'll be going somewhere near it.
Okay, this could be interesting. Gary, the local that we met last night, he was telling me they had 170 millimetres of rain in 3 hours. So, probably flowing.
I might have to flip this trailer over and use the boat option, you think?
Day one and we're into it. Look at this.
When I saw the crossing, I could see some fairly sharp eddies, which meant it wasn't too deep in one spot. But then there were some big still spots too, which meant there were some holes in it. And there was a lot of water passing over it. So it was iffy. It could have gone anywhere. But you got to give it a go. You can see where the track goes though, and there's been a tractor through here at some stage. Not that that means it's suitable for a four-wheel drive, but we'll find out.
Well, you go first. If you get washed away, then we'll try the other side.
Oh yeah, the guys love sending me in first for these kind of things.
My eyes were stuck on Roothy going across first and having a look at the line.
I'm just going to try this with the rear locker on, I think.
Go the tractor.
Oh, there's a bit of flow here. I can feel myself shifting a bit.
A few ghoulies in there, mate. I was quite apprehensive because the water was murky, couldn't see what was underneath there. And me being me, I like to know where my wheels are going.
Glenno gets very nervous when there's a chance of denting his new car. He usually eats it.
Good one, mate. Well done.
Whoa! Whoa! That was fun.
Okay, well, in we go. I'm always very analytical about water crossings. I study it.
What mode you got it in, Glenno? Float mode? He must be too busy driving, I think. He's concentrating.
Hey, look, I'm in four-wheel drive.
Hey, don't tell Glenn, but that disco just keeps on impressing me off-road.
So far, so good? Yeah, the disco went through no dramas at all. Just idling over this beautifully. All this apprehension and, you know, near heart attacks and whatnot, it was not called for. That's what happens when you put them in four-wheel drive.
Well done, mate. Beautiful.
I don't reckon I would have spilled the coffee. Across there?
Come on, Kenny, you can do this.
What we were doing was just like any other river crossing, but more technical because of the big boulders that were underneath the surface of the water, and that made it even more difficult because obviously I'm towing the trailer.
At the end of the day, the trailer was probably the big risk in this whole crossing thing.
Looks good, Kenny.
Should be a ghoulie soon, I think.
Keno and risk go together hand in hand. Keno's as cool as a cucumber. It probably helps when you head somewhere else a lot of the time.
Nice job, Keno.
Done.
After the river crossing, just smack bang straight into the soft river sand.
I figured with all the new regrowth and all the flood damage stuff washed all over the place, I didn't think we'd have a soft sand issue at all. Well, I got that wrong.
Righto, Johnny's coming, mate.
Righto!
In this stuff, just get your momentum up and don't stop.
It was quite rutted. I tried going through the middle of it. Hold in there, Keno, I'm down. Oh, so it's Keno.
Stuck in that hole, Glenno?
Go back and go left into the trees.
Oh, okay, I'll see where you went. We'll give that a crack.
Probably worrying more about your paint than I do.
Thanks for making this all nice and soft for me too, guys. Appreciate it. Leno, can you put a strap on from there, mate?
Oh, mate, no. It'd be more of a winch, mate, because there's a big hole in front of me. It's a big pull for a winch just by itself, with a lot of weight there. So we used a technique that Roothy showed me many years ago about putting a snatch strap in front. And what that does, it sort of acts like a big elastic band and just pulls you out. So you pull the winch in, it stretches the snatch strap, and then you start driving and it just bounces out.
Wind her up.
We've barely put a dent in our trip and we've already got the winch out.
Where you got boards, mate, here?
I threw 2 under the trailer and the other 2 under the wheels of the Hilux just to try and get myself up on top of the sand.
Okay, bounce it a bit, see what happens.
I come off the boards, didn't I?
You've got to make sure with this that you've got really good gear. If you don't have good gear, you're going to be putting a whole lot of strain on rubbish, which is going to break.
I reckon winch off it, then on again. Yeah?
I think he might pull off the winch once he gets over these boards. That's it now. That's it, beautiful. Far out, she's stuck. You're on the middle of the boards now. Now you're off them. That's it.
Trailer's up now, I'm coming up on the back, other side.
The recovery went very well. We had to change positions a few times of the straps.
I'm disturbing the butterflies in the area.
And in the end, I hooked on the Gleno's car and used him as the hitch point.
Come on.
Oh, too easy. Too easy. Too easy, mate. There's a bit of traction under there. If you're nearly on, you're going to ride up in a minute on the grass. There you go, beautiful. Okay, I'll unhook.
It was hard work out there in the heat, but the shortcut was worth it. It kept us off the bitumen too.
Once Keno was recovered, we climbed up a bank to getting out of there. It's quite firm, and up into like farming area.
None of us have ever been down this track. We've got no idea what it's going to throw at us or what we're going to see along the way. And that is the way I like it. When I saw Andrew, straight away thought, geez, he's just buried somebody round here. How you going?
Good. Andrew.
Yeah, John.
How are you, John?
Nice to meet you, mate.
Me too.
What, did you just murder someone, did you?
No, mate, we're spraying rat's tails.
Funny thing was, the longer I looked at him, the more I thought, I know you from somewhere. And sure enough, I did. He used to drive graders up the Cape. What's with the rat's tail?
Oh, it's obnoxious weed.
What's the drama with it?
Oh, it wears the teeth out on your cows if they eat it when it's in head.
You sound like you're a cocky, are you?
Oh, I got a place, yeah.
Yeah. So I suppose this, you'd be contracting, so this would serve you a couple of purposes, eh?
Oh, well, it keeps the farm.
Keeps the farm, and I suppose you're doing it in a way it's good for your cattle too to get rid of it, is it?
Oh, yeah, we haven't got much around our area at the moment. It's bad up here in this Bundy area, but yeah, we're down the coastal lakes. It's not a big pest there yet, but it's going to get that way.
It'll spread that way.
Oh, birds spread it.
So what is it?
Vehicles spread it.
Oh, yeah. What? Vehicles spread it?
Oh, well, you're driving through it.
Picks
Gets
up
in your
under-
chassis,
Yeah.
you go down the road, you're dumping it off. Yeah.
You like the new Hilux?
Yep, she's a beauty.
Good as the old Toyota?
No, probably not.
All right, Andrew. Good on you,
Nice
mate.
meeting you.
Nice
See
meeting
ya.
you. See you, mate.
No worries.
I'm feeling a bit tired, guys. I wonder if that's why they call this Goodnight Scrub.
Oh, that'd be right. No, mate, it's called the Goodnight Scrub apparently because it's so thick in here that if your cattle go missing up here, you might as well kiss them goodnight.
Oh, really? Hey, have a look at the pines.
Yeah, they're hoop pines. Somewhere in here is some of the last stands of native hoop pines in Queensland.
You can actually smell it.
It might be the little thing hanging from your rear view mirror that's coming from.
Keno, in the disco, I have fresh air setting, mate, and I can smell the pine.
I got fresh air sitting in my way too, but I don't think it works after that curry last night.
Apparently, the drive up to One Tree Lookout is the main reason people head into this national park.
Sign buried in the grass says Lookout's four-wheel drive only, as you'd expect.
Well, that's us.
We started heading up the incline to One Tree Hill. Halfway up, it starts getting really scrabbly. I'm thinking, maybe I should have left the trailer down the bottom. Too late now. The only way to turn around is get up to the top.
Keno, you want to hold back, mate? It gets real steep here. I'm in low range for this. There's nothing here that I think would stop you, as long as you get a clear run at it.
Roger that, mate. I'll wait for Gleno to get clear.
It was steep. Boy, it was steep. I'll tell you what. But it wasn't that difficult. You wouldn't want to do it in the rain, though. That'd be really hard.
Mate, he might scrabble with the weight of that trailer on, but I'm sure he'll be right with the locker in.
Keno wouldn't want to slow down at all. Pick your gear and just go for it.
You travelling, Keno?
Up the hill, scrambly, but I have a little bit of momentum, so yeah, going good, mate, going good.
I reckon we're getting close to the top here, guys.
Tell you what, if we're getting too close to the top, I don't know what this meaning of One Tree Hill is all about, because it looks more than that to me. You'd think that's what you'd be looking for. No. We found a hill that was supposed to be extreme four-wheel drive. I reckon I could have reversed up there in two-wheel drive, but we got to the top and the view was absolutely covered with trees. One Tree Hill. What a joke.
I've had a look, let's go.
At least the view from the air is spectacular.
Coming out of the national park, rolling hills, not long after the rain, everything's green. Remember, Gleno likes green. Just, you can see the roads just going off into the distance, weaving between the mountains or the hills. And the view was spectacular.
It really was. And driving through there in the afternoon sun was just so relaxing. How lucky are we?
Hey guys, we're on our way to Middle Creek, not too far to the coast. This is your Imbula National Park, no doubt, as your VMS is telling you. But got a bit of a surprise coming up, a little bit of alternative transport.
And that entails what, John?
Oh, I'm thinking I'll leave it to your imagination.
John organised a surprise. He was giving Keno and I a couple of clues as to what it was. I had no idea what John had in store.
Something to do with balloons.
Balloons.
Okay, so what, like a camp chair with lots of helium balloons around it and a little fan?
I'm not being generous with the clues. All I can say is I'm really looking forward to what's coming up next. I hadn't been to Yirrumbilla National Park before. Another place I haven't been. How big is this country?
What the heck is that?
How cool's that, eh?
That doesn't look like helium balloons in an armchair.
No, it's not.
But now it's driving up on the beach.
Yeah, well, that's the
wheel.
balloon part. That's the balloon part. It's got big balloon tyres. It's what they call a lark. It's a Vietnam-era landing craft, so it'll go in the water and up the beach.
Wow, there's a pink car boat thing.
This baby will climb 60-degree hills. You know, I mean, Milo's good for 45, 50 maybe. Pretty impressive, eh?
We're going to war, are we?
We're going to war, mate. It's going to be you and Woofy against the fish. I reckon the fish are probably pretty safe. I love history. I love war history. I love machinery. So the Lark, something I'd seen on the telly in the 60s, you know, in the Vietnam War, well, to go and have a close look and have a ride in one, that was exciting for me. And to do it in such a beautiful place, that's even better. To take the lads along, well, you got to do it, haven't you? Have you ever laid your eyes on anything like this before? Ha! This thing's insane.
I thought, how steady is this thing going to be with a couple of ton of wheel on each corner? It's surprisingly very stable.
So stable, I might even have a go behind the wheel. Hey, guys.
Don't worry, guys. You got this. Oh, gee.
Neil let us all have a go behind the wheel. It's a pretty strange feeling. So much fun. The Lark was like being in a water tractor, if that makes sense. It was like a tractor on the beach. Tractors with their big wheels, they sort of absorb everything. And the Lark with its big wheels and its big hull and all its 8, 9 tons of weight, whatever it is, it just kind of flopped around like a big tractor. It felt so stable.
The landscape of the headland for me was something that I would call perfect for me to camp at. The ultimate campsite, just the way that the place looked, the creek running out at the bottom. I could spend weeks there.
It's hard to believe that you can have a piece of coastline as beautiful as that and as untouched as that, so close to civilization. It's the sort of thing you see, you know, right up on the eastern side of the Cape or somewhere where there's just no people at all. Didn't expect that. So, this has been here a while.
Yeah, it's a beauty, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Classic piece of cast iron engineering, and basically it was Queensland Government's first lighthouse project.
Righto.
Yeah, they put it up 1868, but they had to obviously ship it over from England. 1866 it was made.
Wow. So shipped over in pieces, prefabbed, in England, brought here.
Yeah.
Erected here.
Flat packed.
Flat pack. Flat pack. Gee, I hope they included the Allen key. The history at Bustard Head Lighthouse made it for me, mostly because until we started looking it up, I had no idea at all that you could have such a beautiful place with so much tragedy. Bustard Head Lighthouse. I mean, so few people lived here in reality, and yet so many people died. So many of them died. And from so many different causes, from the kids who died of things like gastro and whatnot. There's a 2-year-old over here who was burnt to death when a cauldron tipped on her. Real tragedies. And then you get the really strange stories, you know. George Daniels, they used to call him Darky George. He was half Kanaka and half Chinese. He was an 18-year-old stockman, worked on the station near here. And he fell in love with young Edie, who was 16, from up here at the lighthouse. And in the middle of all this, you've got Arthur, a 30-year-old fella who's already claimed Edie as far as he's concerned. So you've got this sort of love triangle going on, well before TV soaps and dramas and all the rest of it. George, he just didn't cope with it at all. One day, he took his rifle out and he shot Arthur in the back. And then he abducted Edie. Well, abducted is the phrase they used, but the funny thing is the locals know that the end of this story was nothing like that at all. The end of this story was actually George and Edie living a very happy, long life. They were hidden by the Aborigines at first, and then later they came back to Rocky and they had family of their own. So, so many stories here on Bustard Head, it's not funny. If you want history to come to life, you come to a place like this.
When Neil mentioned the sandboarding, I thought to myself, I'll give that a go.
This body mass and the weight of this, boom, down the hill, winner. Gleno is a bodyboarder on the sand.
That hat, blowing in the wind while riding a sandboard. Good look, Keno.
It was quite fun sandboarding with Gleno, but it has its risks.
I nearly wiped out Keno. We get into the water and poor Woofy is drowning. I couldn't believe it. There's been a couple of times in this trip I've had to save Woofy.
Walking back up the hill to do it again didn't look like much fun though. 2 weeks before this trip, I had a knee operation on my right knee, so I wish I could have done it. I really do, because, gee, it looked like fun. Neil's been operating the Lark for a number of years now, and he has the time of his life. Lark, what's it stand for?
Okay, well, you can see on the dash there, built by the US Army, Lark 5. It's the baby model, and the word Lark is an acronym.
Yep.
So it stands for lighter, amphibious, resupply, cargo.
So it's not really built to house a bunch of guns or anything. It's just built to get in and out and do its job, restock people.
Well, they
the
did
lines.
see active service. Yeah, I've talked to a few vets, and it's really interesting to hear various stories of where they encountered them.
Just for the mechanical nuts amongst us, and I'm one of them. Cummins V8 up the back.
That's right.
Naturally ancient, but naturally aspirated. Sounds beautiful. Maximum speed on land?
It depends. We cruise at 25 k's an hour. If you had someone chasing me with a gun, you'd probably get 40 mile an hour.
Whoa, yeah, but maybe not
for a little while, yeah.
Middle Creek campsite reminded me of what it used to be like to camp 40 years ago when I was a teenager, when you'd just pick a hill next to the beach, a headland, and find a track and get there and set up on top of the headland. Does it get any better than this? If the sandflies keep away, then no, it doesn't. This is special. It's really special. Wow. Fish tomorrow, Kenny. Where are you? Kenny, fish. Mate, you, fish. About half an hour ago, I put some lamb chops in here to get them nicely cooked up, you know, and they're just about, at the moment, they're probably about halfway cooked. They're smelling good. Just lamb chops, bit of olive oil. I'm going to add some onion. This is whatever you've got that's left over. In my case, it's soy, honey and garlic. You need some soy or some oyster or some soy, honey and garlic. And because I put that in, I can get away without putting the bit of garlic in you've got to have with lamb.
That'd add a little bit of salt too, wouldn't it, John?
That's what it's for, Keno, exactly. That's the salt content. That's what it's for. This is mint, and we've got 2 lots of mint here. We've got the mint that has been managed to rescue, which was a beautiful job. I had fresh mint, but you know what happens to the fresh mint in the truck?
It went black.
It went black. Most of it went black. We saved some of it, but we had a tube as backup.
A little bit.
And we're going to use the whole lot because we really want it to be minty, don't we, Keno?
Yes, it looks that way.
Do you like mint, mate?
Yeah, oh, not really.
Mint's a band from my childhood.
I love mint.
Well, you're going to hate this then because I'm about to chuck in a couple of cans of condensed mushroom soup.
Oh, that's fine. I love mushroom.
Beautiful. How much beer have you got in that can?
Not much. Oh, it's probably half. You need
Half?
some?
Well, yeah.
It's world's finest. Carlton Mid.
We'll do a mix, eh?
Hybrid.
It's like water.
There you go. I'll give that one quick stir. Oh, I just got a whiff of that. It's going to be all right. And then in go the veggies. Now, the veggies in this case, Brussels sprouts, mint, and some carrots. So essentially we've got our orange and our green and a little bit more mint. In she goes.
We are looking after ourselves.
Oh, we are looking after ourselves. It's all healthy tucker.
Managed to fill that pot too, mate.
I filled the pot perfectly, didn't I?
Yep.
I'll help you empty it.
I've done this a couple of times. She's right.
We might be having this for breakfast too, I'd say.
All right. On goes the lid. We'll give that probably another half hour or so. I might even whack a few coals on the lid. And she'll be just about right.
Beauty.
Where is the lid? Who got my lid?
Ooh. Did you bring one?
Oh, there it is.
Use that one.
Cool. Whoa! Looking good, guys.
You need a hand, mate?
Benno's not hungry at all, you can tell. Don't eat the plate. All right, here we go. It seems to be very hot.
Looks scaldingly
It's going to be very, very hot, actually.
There you go, Keno.
There we go.
I think 4 chops.
Keno, can you just burn yourself on that? How does that look? That's way too much for you,
That looks
isn't it?
great.
Sorry,
Go
mate.
on, give that to me then.
That's a Gleno serve. Give it to
Give it here.
Gleno.
Give it here. It's a man surf.
That's man.
You like Brussels sprouts, mate?
No thanks.
Give them to him.
Okay, Brussels
No.
sprouts for Keno.
Was there any spuds in there?
No.
There's no spuds in here, mate. I could have put spuds in, but I didn't.
Well, Gleno's got 14 lamb chops and no Brussels sprouts, so you need to sort him out with a few more
There you go.
sprouts.
There's 3
Oh, there's a sprout right in the middle.
lamb chops for you.
Thank you.
How is it, Glenn?
Tastes really good. It's not as minty as I thought it was going to be.
That meat, it's falling to pieces.
Beautiful. Oh, wow. I hate to say it, but that's pretty good.
Very good.
There you go. How easy was that?
What'd you call it?
Oh, we didn't have a name. What are we going to call it?
Busted lamb.
Bustard lamb. I love it. There
Busted
you go.
lamb at Bustard Head.
Bustard lamb on Bustard Head.
Perfect.
Cool. Yum.
Onto it.
I don't sleep a lot, I never have. I hate missing a sunrise. And I knew that Anton and Gav and the crew would be up to capture the sunrise. And boy, wasn't it magnificent.
Guys, what a beautiful spot. Middle Creek. Seems a shame to leave, but onward and upward, I suppose. Where are we off to?
Well, we're going through to Kroombit, but it looks like we're going to have to backtrack a fair way, right down here.
That's to, actually, Maxie, you know Maxie?
Oh, yeah, panel beater Maxie.
Yeah. He's always talked about this track that goes from Turkey Beach to Middle Creek, so obviously we can do that in reverse.
Well, if it's there, it doesn't show it there on the government map, but
He's been going on about it for years.
look, it's on the VMS. Look, see, it goes through there.
Is this going to be another one of your shortcuts?
Oh, come on, Keno. You know you're going to give it a go. Well, we're on. I think we might have an adventure today.
I like these planning sessions.
Yeah. Look how much of a hurry we're in.
Track should be coming up on the right-hand side soon, guys, according to the BMS.
Correct, Mondo, if I'm mine as well, mate.
Well, there's something here on the right. I reckon that might be the start of it, guys. It's got a log over it, but I'm pretty sure we can just cut over it into it. I'll go and have a look. This might just be a little greater push. Just have a bit of a look.
Even though the track was on our VMS, it still took us a while to find it. There was about 2 or 3 occasions that we'd sort of dive off to the right, where the graders have sort of graded a gutter or a channel in.
Oh, I don't know, there's a big tree across the track up here.
After a couple of false alarms, we found the track.
Right, John, my VMS indicates we should be just about on this, mate.
Yeah, mine too. What's yours say, Keno?
Yeah, mate. Big intersection coming up.
Oh, look at this. I don't know how we could have missed this. It's kind of like the Albion 5-ways.
Traffic lights and all.
Hey, it's funny, isn't it? Like, it's not on the parks map, and yet here it is, big and bold and signposted. There is a gate on it, but the gate's open.
This is the sort of track that most four-wheel drivers would love. It chucks just about everything at you. Technical, sure, but not dangerous either, and not too difficult.
Bit of a blue line on the VMS here, guys, coming up. And there's some bigger trees. I think we're about to see a little bit of water.
Beauty, hopefully it's mud. Gleno loves mud.
Oh, Gleno's not going to like this mud.
Oh, yeah. Right.
What's the bottom like, John?
Stinks, but it wasn't too bad. Oh, Jesus, stinks. Gleno will be cursing under his breath about now. Or maybe that's why we're not being shown the in-car footage.
It wasn't too bad.
This puddle's got a fair bit of depth to it, but it's got a hard bottom too, so Keno and the trailer won't have any worries at all. Oh, this is the blue line on the map, guys, the creek. I'm going straight through the middle, it looks safer.
Yeah, mate, looks like a little capillary that would run down to Middle Creek where we camped last night.
Very still water, but there's a bit of it. Oh, look at Gleno driving it. He might as well float on air in that thing. Lots of bog holes, lots of little creek crossings. It was almost like a mini teletrack type experience. It was a really fun track to drive. It was an absolute perfect track to take my son out for his first days of serious four-wheel driving. I'm going to take him up there, actually.
Yeah, what was cool about this track was it sort of threw everything at us.
Well, after a couple of hours on our shortcut, we were back on the blacktop.
Next stop, Kroombit Tops National Park.
There are so many gazetted tracks in Australia, gazetted roads, gazetted rites of passage, if you want, where we should be able to travel. And for some reason, we can't, or we don't, or we've forgotten about them or something. Usually the latter, we've forgotten about them. So that track through Kroombit, the beginning of it, was just like travelling through a farmer's backyard after it had been wiped out by a cyclone, because that's pretty much the way it was.
I'll tell you what, if the VMS didn't tell you there was something here, you wouldn't really know, would you?
It's certainly the road less travelled, isn't it?
Looked like someone's farm sort of access, and then this track just ducked off it, so, but it was all on the map.
It was a farm track there for a while, wasn't it?
It's not terribly difficult, but it adds excitement to it, eh?
No, I wouldn't go saying it ain't too difficult just yet, Gleno.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of these boulders have just been shifted downstream from the floods, and we're probably one of the first ones across it.
We did all these creek crossings, and then all of a sudden, it's just pretty much gone vertical. That was it for, for 1,000 metres, just straight up.
We're coming around that corner, and I can see no one's been up there before, certainly not since that washout came through. And I just remember thinking, oh, please, don't give way on us. Don't give way.
Geez, you wouldn't want to fall down there, would you?
Have a look at it when you get beside it.
Long way to the bottom there.
And a tree in it.
3/4 of the track was missing. We only just skimmed by it.
It would have been just massive amounts of water just flying down that gully, I suppose.
Oh, Keno, you wouldn't want to cut it much closer than that, mate.
I'd seen a lot of lookouts, travelling around Australia. But this one, it took my breath away.
How good's this, eh? It's incredible.
Wasn't too long ago we were at saltwater, mate. The
Yeah.
ocean.
I know. We would have been just over there, I guess.
Over those hills.
Their backyard, I had no idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is unreal.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it?
I need to bring the family up here, I think.
So how did this come about, John?
Timeline. Shortly before the birth of Alan Gray, 215 million years ago, this place was a ring of volcanoes. And there was about 40 kilometres worth of volcanoes that formed a big crater right here. And then 25 million years after that, it was all covered in ocean. It's hard to believe, isn't it? And that's what that is, sandstone. That's sandstone from the bed of the old ocean. And then in the ensuing 100 and whatever it is, 75, 80 million years, all of the rest of that just eroded away. But it left this bit because it's sitting on volcanic rock with encrusted sandstone right on top of it. And that's Kroombit.
We pulled into our campsite quite late. It still wasn't cold, but it was the coolest campsite we had. So John cooked a curry for us to warm us all up a little bit.
The curry is one of the simplest things I've ever cooked, really. It started out with some really good steak, all diced up. Some oil in the pan, the steak goes in, and then stirred it all up. Then some onions went in. And some carrots. And some snow peas. Capsicum. All this stuff basically just chucked in there. And at that stage, I had a bit of a taste and I thought, yeah, it's hot, but it's not hot enough and it's going to be a cold night. So the rest of the red curry paste went in. And then some honey to sweeten it up, because honey always works, and some coconut milk, a couple of cans of that. We had a few people to feed that night, so I chucked in some rice noodles. Flat rice noodles go well with just about anything. They soak up all the flavours in the coconut milk. Fantastic. It was starting to look pretty good. I overcooked it, that's beside the point. But by the time we doled it out into the bowls, all I had to do was sprinkle a few hard-cooked egg noodles over the top to give it a little bit of crunch, and she was Mickey Mouse.
And I love his curries. I love the coconut milk. Everything just sort of fitted that night. The food, the fire, the campsite.
Tasted a bit like a Thai green curry, but with a bit of crunch. Beautiful flavours and beautiful texture.
We pulled into our campsite quite late. It was dusk. We couldn't see too much, but the next morning when we awoke, wow, we had the whole place to ourselves. The whole place was green and lush. Yeah, it was a good campsite. It's one of those ones you think about all the time. It's a place you'd go back to and go back to and go back to. And it doesn't look like too many people get in there.
One of the reasons we went to Kroombit Tops was to try out this loop track, four-drive loop track. We'd heard about it, so we wanted to go and see for ourselves how difficult it actually was. As it turns out, we get onto this four-drive loop and it's been graded. You know, it's the best dirt road I've probably ever driven on.
What a disappointment. I was looking forward to putting the old girl back into four-wheel drive. Doesn't matter though, there's something at the end of this track that I've been wanting to see for a long time. This is the tail section of a Liberator bomber, four-engine bomber, US Air Force. And this is beautiful Betsy. And in February 1945, beautiful Betsy, which had been decommissioned as a bomber, was doing a Fat Cat run. And the war was still on, but a Fat Cat run was essentially picking up stuff from down in Brisbane or further south and taking it back to Darwin. And it's a bit of a tragedy. This whole thing is a tragedy, really, because first of all, this plane was just about ready to be decommissioned completely, because it had already had all its guns stripped, its defensive guns, its bomb doors and all that stuff taken out, because they figured it wasn't really safe anymore. That's part of the tragedy. This is its last flight. That's the tail section. It's flipped over upside down. It's a bit of wing. The rest of it's just plastered up the hill. So mechanical failure, who knows? Weather, who knows? And then you get the personal tragedies involved in this. To begin with, there were the 6 US Air Forcemen manning the plane. Then you've got, in this case, 2 RAF pilots, Roy Cannon and Tom Cook. These guys have survived. These are Spitfire pilots. They've survived the worst part of the war. 23 years old, you know, they would have seen some pretty horrible stuff. They've survived the worst part of it. And Roy Cannon's on his way to Brisbane to marry his Aussie sweetheart, Daphne Studdard. And the wedding's going to be in 5 days' time. They've hitched a lift on beautiful Betsy and died. But the real tragedy is that Daphne Studdard and everybody else didn't find this out for 49 years. It shows how remote this place is. For 49 years, this wreckage sat here until 1994, when a ranger was burning off and he saw something glinting in the bush. They were doing a bit of back burning. Out came a US Army investigation brigade, pulled the place to bits, found the personal remnants of the people who'd died. Poor Daphne, 5 days to the most important occasion in a girl's life, her marriage, and no fiance. He's gone. And 49 years before she got a full stop placed on that story. Almost beggars disbelief.
Now we're off to Facing Island. I think it was only 7 kilometres long, someone said. There's no pub there. So if you're an alcoholic, you want to go to Facing Island because it's too far to swim anywhere. You can't buy beer.
I had a picture of Facing in my mind because I've seen lots and lots and lots of sand islands. So I figured there'd be a great big wide sandy track on the highest point of the island, right down the middle, you know, with a few big gum trees. And I thought, where you can drive on this island, it's going to be well driven. Well, it wasn't at all.
Welcome to Facing Island, guys.
Yeah, mate. Good trip over. Interested to know how the name came about.
Oh, I love this place. First thing I can see is 2 old Toyotas.
There's even a Range Rover back there.
It's not that far from Gladstone, and you can see Gladstone from Facing Island, but when you are on Facing Island, you feel so remote.
Cruising through the sand dunes on Facing Island was pretty cool. You go through this foliage over your car and then you come out into this wide open sort of plain where there's purple flowers everywhere. They were really pretty. Then you start driving over these little sand dunes and then all of a sudden you pop out into the ocean.
During his voyage up the Great Barrier Reef in 1770, Captain Cook apparently observed the remains of a Spanish shipwreck on Facing Island. But when he got back to England, he downplayed that. Obviously, it was evidence of a pre-British expedition.
Backwards we go. I'm going to have another go.
Despite the fact that there's over 30 people live here full time, I'm getting the impression these tracks haven't been driven in ages. Come on, Keno, give it the berries.
Well, that was a bit of fun.
We found on the VMS this inland track. It was all overgrown, it was washed away. It had the feeling it hadn't been driven for many years.
I reckon this is it, guys, but gee, it hasn't been driven in a while, this track.
How cool is this? Kitty's VMS is spot on again, eh?
Yeah, John, I don't think this whole island's been driven in a while.
Gives you that feeling, eh? But, oh, well, I'm breaking through trees here. You're going to enjoy this on the land, you got, eh?
Cutting pipes when I get back, eh?
I reckon, hey, Keno, there's some full lock-to-lock turns in amongst these little trees here too. That should be fun.
It wasn't quite trailer friendly. I basically had to thread the needle. Between trees, there was millimetres. At times, things were touching.
Oh, this is tight country. Come on, Keno.
I broke the end off one of my fishing rods because I needed to get the front of the car so close to a tree to be able to get the trailer around. That was a little bit depressing and upsetting.
I always run by the theory, if it's green, it's not going to scratch. If it's dead, it's going to scratch your paintwork. So it wasn't too bad. Keno with a camper trailer on did a fantastic job getting it through there.
Then it was time to go play in the mud. Come on, Keno, give it the berries. Can you tell we're having fun?
We're turning around on the mud flats. Keno comes across the two-way. Gleno, there's something under my car. What's happened?
What have you done, Keno?
Oh, I just jacked her up, mate. I just wanted to check this wheel bearing. It had a little bit of a click.
Right.
I got this full underbody guard, and I was turning around, and I've just driven. It's just driven straight up onto it, slid onto the top of the stuff.
Mate, I've never seen anyone do that.
No, that's good, isn't it?
That's really awesome. Well done.
That's called a bush jack.
Fair dinkum, mate. Nobody else could have done that in a million years. I'd like to put my tree trunk protector around the stump and put the winch over here and just pull the stump this way.
Yep.
The big problem with the way Keno was stuck was that log could have done some damage somewhere, you know, could have peeled over a fuel line or a brake line or ripped something out or something like that.
I'm stumped.
But really, when you've seen what Keno's done to his Hilux, that doesn't matter. A little bit back, Keno, we'll see what happens. I reckon we pull this out the side. Oh no, you got more than I thought.
Right, now left hand down.
Hard left, mate. Oh, go, Keno, you got it. Nail it.
That's the first time that's happened to me. Hopefully the last.
Oh, only Keno. What a goose. Well done, mate.
The reason I like to get outdoors and go camping and exploring is because when I'm in the bush, I feel at one with the bush. I feel like it's where I'm meant to be. When I go into the city, I feel uneasy and like I don't belong. But when I'm in the bush and places like this is where I belong.
This trip, in a reasonable sort of distance, we found so much history, so much drama, so many beautiful places, and we had so many deep experiences. I felt my soul pop out a few times on this trip, and yet, really, if I'd looked at the map before we went, which I did, and I remember thinking, oh, there won't be anything special there, how wrong was I?
This trip for me was another one of going to places that I'd never been to, never knew existed. Kroombit, Paradise, Middle Creek, the lighthouse, Facing Island. Never heard of any of these places. Just feels like I'm slowly making my way up the east coast of Australia and really getting to know my own backyard, my own state, my own country. I'm looking forward to extending onto that.
I'll adjust my hair.
That's it. You're looking good, looking good.
Well, these are a couple of days out of date, so we better cook them, and we better cook them good. Cook the salmonella out of them, I say.
Think it's working? Looking good. You're driving on water, it looks like.
Like a ball.
But you'd be surprised what I can see through the hole in the elephant's bottom. Hang on, kangaroo's bottom.
My right foot has no blood in it. No, this is my left one actually. Yes, this is Heart Foundation approved chicken schnitzels. And shut the lid. Look at that. Move!
I know I look sexy in jeans, but gee, I'm hot and sweaty.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Woofy. Bit of sand on you. Bit of sand on you, Woofy.
Yes. The hills are alive with the sound of discord.
Do you want help? You know you're on the coast when you come across a prettiest home. That was Norfolk Island language.
Oh yeah.
For white
sounded
sand.
familiar.
For white sand.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that, gentlemen.
Fat and healthy.
Only 3 each, kiddo.
There you go, possum. Put that in, possum.
Thanks, Conno. Straight wheels, Josh, man.
Go the melanator.
That
Wow.
was good. How good a snatch.
She drives like a boss.
Milo, still from the judders! I can't hear you.
Bird for anyone?
What is that?
My skin is dissolving.
That's
Stingos.
That means you're a witch.
Okay, Indian firelighter.
Duck, duck, Gleno, duck.
Mind the thing on your head.
salmonella never really hurt anyone. Just killed a few people.
I don't know why Josh is in the driver's seat, to be honest. He doesn't even know how to drive on the road.
How good's this weather, Kenno?
Yeah, so in my spare time I sit out in the rain with my dog and my coconuts. Good on you, Woofy. You're allowed back in the car, mate, now that you're dry. Don't get wet again, otherwise you're back in the tray, alright, buddy?
Do you want the sexy look?
Okay, once you're rolling, you can come on through.
No,
and you just
apparently
want to
not.
start it.
It was chicken, wasn't it?
No, we couldn't remember if it was beef or lamb.
That's interesting, I thought it was chicken.
This is when I do the most work. I take lots of photos. I don't actually press the button, but I just make it look like it, so I don't actually have to get dirty.
So this is another one of those shortcuts that takes twice as long. That's not fair. That was rigged.
What you doing?
I think it might be time for a new set. Driving the lark was a bit of a lark too.
Oh, he didn't.
Cool.